What is a behavior you used to do in relationships that you now realize is toxic? Making snarky and sassy comments when I was upset instead of just outright stating my problem or question. I was hurt and wanted them to feel it, wanted them to give me some kind of emotion back. All it did was make them think I was always mad at them and pushed us apart further. Not healthy and not something I do now, and I regret my behavior. Pretend I was okay with something to please someone, then have a meltdown about the behavior I said was fine. People pleasing. Unfortunately, distinguishing the line between chill and doormat is a tricky one for me, and it leads to a lot of resentment. I'm working on it. Making my partner feel terrible for having their own life outside of spending time with me, and then showering them in gifts to make up for it. Walking away when I got angry without saying anything. Nowadays I go, "Hey, I care about you, love, but I'm upset about this and am walking away to cool down. I'll be back at X time and we can talk about it." Constantly asking for reassurance. Do you still love me? Are you mad at me? Do you like me? All questions I used to ask all the time because of an anxious attachment, general anxiety mixed with picking shitty partners that didn't help with my lack of security. I've now learned to recognize firstly my worth as a partner, and secondly, that love does not go away just because they haven't reminded you for the 15th time that day. I've become much more secure with myself and the love my now partner has for me, and I never find myself doubting it anymore. It has been so refreshing. I don't remember ever doing this in romantic relationships, but I remember doing it in other relationships, baiting. Having a specific answer, asking an innocent question, and then going off to make my point. As opposed to directly saying, "Hey, I have a concern that I need to talk about." So proud of everyone realizing these things and growing from it. Trying to manage their emotions. It sounds silly, but I started telling myself I'm not the keeper of the moods when I start feeling compelled to fix my partner, or frankly anyone's, emotions. Never really speaking up and just bottling those emotions to the point where I explode and inflict damage on everyone around me. Guilt trip when I don't get what I want. When I was much younger I was possessive and jealous. Now I find that absolutely ridiculous and don't impose any kind of restrictions on my partner's time or friendships. I feel so called out. I am guilty of almost every one of these responses. Cheers to personal growth. I don't know if it's even toxic or not, but I want my man to read between the lines, and I am kind of sneaky and leave around crumbs to let them know what I want, but they don't really get it, and then I get angry because of that, and they say, "I am dumb. Why don't you just straight up say it to me?" But if you have to ask for it, it's not that special anymore. Now that I'm growing up, I'm realizing how mentally exhausting reading between the lines can be for an average adult. My first real love was a very kind boyfriend. I was only 18 and freshly moved out of my parents to start university, where I met him. I was so naive and inexperienced, but so was he to some extent. I used to play a game of push and pull. I'd get mad over something simple and then demand his attention as proof that he loves me until I was satisfied. One example was making him stop in the middle of cooking dinner to come over to me and console me when I was feeling upset over something small. It was so childish, but I thought I couldn't trust anyone, and making people do all these things to earn my trust was a way to prove their love to me. I'm very different now, lol. Being oversexual to bond. When I first got with my partner, I initiated sex all the time. I felt like that was the only way I ever got attention from men. I realized how chaotic that was for myself and have slowed that way down. I need so much more than just sex, and it's okay to not always want it. Immediately going to my friends for relationship advice. Sometimes it's warranted, and I don't think I ever got any advice that wasn't applicable and sound, but I've since learned it's a faux pas and keep any challenges we're having inside the relationship. My current partner and I rarely have any issues, so that makes it easy. Silence treatment.